Welcome back, my friends. Today we are going to talk about something that might look so ordinary that you could walk past it without even noticing, but in truth it hides one of the most fascinating stories in the world of money. I am talking about the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1980 without a mint mark. At first sight it looks like nothing more than a penny, the smallest coin in American currency, but when you really take the time to understand its story you will see that this coin is not ordinary at all. It is a tiny piece of metal that carries history, rarity, and value far beyond what anyone would expect from a 1-cent coin. To understand this coin we must first step back in time to the year 1980. The world was changing, America was entering a new decade filled with challenges and opportunities. Technology was starting to grow, personal computers were becoming known, music and culture were shifting, and the United States Mint was producing millions upon millions of coins every year for the daily life of its people. In pockets, wallets, and purses, coins clinked together as people went about their lives, never realizing that hidden among the billions of ordinary pennies was a version that would later become a treasure. The design of the penny in 1980 was already familiar to everyone. On the front we see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a man remembered for leadership, strength, and his role in ending slavery. His face had appeared on the penny since 1909, when the nation celebrated the 100th anniversary of his birth. On the back was the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of freedom and democracy, standing tall in Washington, D.C. If you looked very closely, you could even see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, a detail that always amazes collectors when they view it under magnification. Now here is where the story gets interesting. Every coin carries what is called a mint mark, a tiny letter that tells us where the coin was made. A D means Denver, an S means San Francisco, and usually coins from Philadelphia carried no mint mark at all. But in 1980, the Philadelphia Mint produced a 1-cent coin without any mint mark, and these coins, under certain conditions, became incredibly special to collectors. They looked like ordinary pennies to the untrained eye, but in the world of coin collecting they represented rarity, mystery, and value. Why would a missing mark make such a difference? The answer lies in the way collectors think. Imagine there are billions of identical coins, but a few of them are different, even in the smallest way. That difference creates scarcity. Scarcity creates demand, and demand creates value. In other words, the fewer there are of something, the more people want it. This is the basic rule of collecting, whether it is coins, stamps, art, or even rare cars. The penny of 1980 with no mint mark became one of those treasures. Some people discovered these coins in the most unexpected ways. A child checking their piggy bank. A cashier counting coins at the end of a shift. A collector searching through rolls of pennies from the bank. Stories spread of people who thought they had found just an ordinary penny, only to realize later that it was something incredibly rare. Imagine buying a simple cup of coffee, receiving your change, and one of those coins turns out to be worth thousands of dollars. That is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill that keeps collectors searching and examining every piece of change they come across. But let's dive even deeper. The penny may be small, but it carries with it the weight of history. Abraham Lincoln's portrait was not chosen by accident. When the design was introduced in 1909, it was the first time an American president appeared on a regular circulating coin. Before that, most coins showed images of liberty, eagles, or symbolic figures. Lincoln's face represented a turning point, connecting the currency directly to the nation's history and its leaders. By the time 1980 arrived, Lincoln had been on the penny for more than 70 years, and people hardly thought twice about it. Yet the coin still held stories waiting to be discovered. Collectors often speak about condition, rarity, and demand. Condition matters because the cleaner, shinier, and more perfect a coin is, the more it is worth. Rarity matters because not many were made or survived. And demand matters because people are willing to pay for it. The 1980 no mint mark penny checks all these boxes in certain cases. A coin in mint condition with no mint mark becomes a shining jewel for collectors. Some of these coins were graded by professional services, sealed in protective holders, and given high scores that increased their value to unbelievable levels. now picture this. A collector opens a roll of pennies from the bank, one by one, checking each year, each mint mark. Most are ordinary, worn out, scratched, or dirty. But then, suddenly, one coin stands out. It is from 1980. It has no mint mark. It is in excellent condition. At that moment, the collector realizes they are holding something extraordinary. The excitement rushes through them because they know this coin is not just worth 1 cent. It is worth thousands. It is worth the thrill of discovery, and this is not just theory. Over the years, auctions have shocked the world with the prices people are willing to pay for rare coins. The 1980 no mint mark penny has been one of those surprises. The idea that a coin so small, so ordinary in appearance, could rise to such a high value is something that continues to inspire collectors and treasure hunters alike. It proves that fortune can be hiding in plain sight, even in your pocket or your piggy bank. Now, many people ask how they can identify such coins. The process is simple but requires patience. First, check the year. It must be 1980. Then look for the mint mark, which is usually below the year. If there is no letter, then you might have something special. Next, consider the condition. Is the coin shiny? Are the details sharp? Is it free from scratches and damage? The better the condition, the higher the value. Finally, if you truly believe you have a valuable coin, send it to a grading service. Professional grading not only confirms authenticity but also locks in the value and makes it easier to sell to serious collectors. Coin collectors are passionate people. For them, each coin is a time capsule. It tells a story of the era in which it was created. The 1980 penny tells us about a time when America was moving into a new decade, when the mint was producing billions of coins, and when a small detail could create a legacy of rarity. Collectors treasure such coins not only for their monetary value but for the history they carry. To hold a coin like this is to hold a piece of America's story, and so we come to the part you have been waiting for, the value of this tiny treasure. After all, what good is a story without the ending? How much could a 1-cent coin from 1980 without a mint mark really be worth? The answer is one that shocks people every time they hear it. This coin, this small piece of copper and zinc, has been valued at an unbelievable $40,000. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, do not ignore it. Pick it up, examine it, and remember that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, could be a coin that changes your life. Today's story takes us to one of the most collected and recognized coins in United States history, the Washington quarter dollar. And not just any quarter, but the 1997 Washington quarter struck at the Denver Mint, carrying that little D mark which, for many collectors, tells a much bigger story than you would ever imagine. Let's begin with the history. The Washington quarter was first introduced back in 1932, in honor of the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was powerful and patriotic, with Washington's portrait on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan. On the reverse, we see the majestic American eagle, wings spread wide, perched proudly on a bundle of arrows, framed by olive branches symbolizing peace and strength. This design became a classic and was used for decades until the state quarters program began in the year 2000. Now, if we fast forward to 1997, the design was still the same, and the mint struck millions of quarters for everyday use. Two major mints were producing these coins, Philadelphia and Denver. The Denver Mint, known for its D mint mark, released a huge quantity of quarters into circulation. To the naked eye, all of them look the same. But coin collectors know better. Within those millions, there are always a few special coins that stand out due to their quality, rarity, or unique minting errors. And that's where the 1997 D quarter becomes incredibly exciting. At first glance, it seems like just another coin that passed through thousands of hands, vending machines, and cash registers. But when preserved in exceptional condition, untouched by circulation, it transforms from pocket change into a collector's dream. Think about it, how many coins from that year could have stayed flawless, without a single scratch or mark, for more than 25 years. Very, very few. That's why pristine, mint state examples of this quarter are worth far more than their face value, but condition is just one part of the story. Errors make these coins even more thrilling. The minting process, even though handled by machines, is not always perfect. A die might slip, causing the coin to be struck off center. A piece of grease might clog the die, leaving parts of the design faint or missing. Sometimes the coin is struck twice, leading to doubling effects that collectors love. Every error makes the coin unique, and uniqueness equals rarity, and rarity equals value. The 1997 D quarter has several known varieties like these, and whenever they appear, collectors go into bidding wars just to get their hands on them. Now picture this: you're digging through an old jar of coins at home, maybe quarters that have been collecting dust for years. You pick one up and notice that tiny D mint mark. You polish your glasses, look closer, and realize the coin is in nearly perfect condition, as if it just rolled out of the mint yesterday. That little piece of metal in your hand suddenly doesn't feel like just 25 cents anymore. It feels like a piece of treasure, carrying the weight of history and the thrill of possibility. That's the kind of story that makes coin collecting so addictive and so rewarding. For the average person, a quarter is just a quarter. But for those who understand the world of numismatics, every coin is like a mystery waiting to be solved. The 1997 D Washington quarter dollar is a perfect example of how something ordinary can become extraordinary. Every small detail matters: the shine of the metal, the sharpness of Washington's hair, the strength of the eagle's feathers, even the alignment of the strike. These are the details that grading experts examine under magnification when deciding if a coin belongs in the highest category of preservation. And those highest graded coins? They are the ones that shock the world when they appear at auctions. Over the years, collectors have paid astonishing amounts for the very best examples of this quarter. The coin that might look plain and ordinary to some has, in fact, become a star in the world of numismatics. People who never thought twice about their change have suddenly realized they could be holding something far more valuable than they imagined, and this brings us to the ultimate question: how much can a 1997 D Washington quarter be worth? While most are worth just 25 cents, certain rare examples in flawless condition or with rare mint errors have amazed collectors. The highest value recorded for this coin has reached as much as $40,000. Today we are going to explore one such fascinating piece of American history, the Washington quarter dollar from the year 2004 with the Denver mint mark. This coin may look ordinary at first glance, but behind its design and story lies a surprising value that could make you look twice at your pocket change. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of United States currency since 1932, originally struck to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the very first president of the United States. Over the decades, the design evolved, and in the late 1990s, the U.S. Mint launched the famous 50-state quarters program. This program quickly became one of the most successful coin collecting events in history, sparking new interest in coins for millions of people. In the year 2004, several state quarters were released, including Michigan, Florida, Texas, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Each one represented a unique piece of American culture and heritage. Among these, the Wisconsin quarter became especially famous because of the discovery of unusual varieties in its design. Some coins showed an extra leaf on the ear of corn, one pointing upwards and another pointing downwards. These small details created a sensation among collectors, who suddenly began checking their change for these hidden treasures. Now let's talk about the Denver Mint. Coins struck in Denver carry the letter D as their mint mark, and the 2004 Wisconsin quarters with the D mark are the ones that hold the most attention. Why? Because this is where the famous extra leaf varieties were found. It was like a treasure hunt in everyday life. A simple quarter worth 25 cents could suddenly be worth hundreds, even thousands, if it had that tiny unusual detail. Collectors love these coins not just because of the error, but because of how it captures a moment in history when regular Americans rushed to banks, stores, and even gas stations, searching through rolls of quarters hoping to find that special piece. The buzz around the 2004 Wisconsin quarter was so strong that newspapers, television shows, and magazines all covered the story. It became one of the most talked about modern coin discoveries. Now you might be asking, what makes these error coins so valuable? The answer lies in rarity and demand. Whenever a minting error occurs and only a small number of coins are released into circulation, collectors know that supply is limited. And when demand is high, the value skyrockets. Think of it like a rare autograph or a limited edition item. People will pay more because they know they might never see another one again. Over the years, the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with the extra leaf has been auctioned many times. Prices have varied depending on condition, but in high-grade examples, the value has reached astonishing levels. Some coins have sold for amounts that make you look at a quarter in a completely different way. After all, finding one of these in your pocket change is like winning a mini lottery. Imagine the thrill of spotting a small leaf detail that most people would ignore. Imagine realizing that the coin you just pulled out of a vending machine could change your day, or even your week. That is the magic of coin collecting, where history, art, and chance all come together in your hand. So next time you see a quarter with the year 2004 and a little d under the word Liberty, take a closer look at the coin on the back. You might just be holding something extraordinary. And now comes the part that excites everyone, the actual value. A genuine 2004 Denver Mint Wisconsin extra leaf quarter in top condition has been sold for as much as $4,000. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share it with your friends so they can also discover how pocket change can sometimes turn into a treasure.